Hi guys, I'm Patricia.
And I'm Ian. Servus.
And we are Be With Us.
Guys, your eyes are not failing you. She's not sitting beside me, as this episode is a Q&A about blindness. As I can't read all the questions, or I could, but it would be very complicated. Patricia is just opposite of me, so you can't see her, but I can see her. She's reading out all the questions for this video, and I will be the host for this video. I hope you don't turn off straight away. Please stay and watch the video. It's going to be funny, and you will hear her voice.
And you can see this logo in the corner, it's the blind spot, because we also recording for his podcast, The Blind Spot.
Yes, I have a podcast now. The podcast is called The Blind Spot. I have series called The Haunted Spots in the USA. It's a series about haunted spots, about ghosts and entities and portals and God knows what. And I have another series starting today called The Fellowship of the Stick, which is all blind related, and I'll try to raise awareness with this for blind people and our problems, our needs, but also funny episodes about slapstick of a blind person in life.
So kick back, relax, and let's start it. What's your condition called and how do you see?
My condition is called I can't really always remember. Some
Stargardt,
yeah,
macular disease,
yeah. So it's basically what it is. The center of my vision is gone for years. The small little blood vessels in the center of my eyes, they just were not blooded through, supported with blood anymore, so they dried out, and I only see with the outer rim, which leaves me with 5% of vision, which is really not much. What I see or how I see, I have no clue. I see colors. My mom thought until lately I only see blur and black and white, and I had to tell her, Mom, I'm not a dog. I actually see colors. I see just very limited, I would say. What I see, for me, it's 100%. So I can't compare it. If I can't read print anymore, like newspapers, books, or stuff. I can't read on the computer, but we will get into this later. When I go to the cinema, I don't really see all the details. When I watch TV with my wife, we have a 65-inch 4K TV. I barely see anything on it. So if there's any juicy scenes in the episodes of whatever, I don't see naked bodies. So maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not a good thing. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, you answered several questions there. The next question was, how much can you see?
5%. Yeah. But then what is 5%? What is 5% to someone? To me, 5% is 100%.
And the next question is, why do you wear glasses if you're blind?
I have some glasses, I barely ever wear them. They give me no extra vision. Oh, maybe X-ray. I have to try them again. No, they're only, what they're supposed to do is to relax the eye when I'm very stressed. So I don't know. They're useless because they're just collecting dust and fingerprints. But for my vision, they do nothing. I'm wearing sunglasses a lot because I'm very sensitive for lights, especially sunlight. And now in this setup here, while I'm recording, I have two humongous ring lights bringing light in this shady corner.
The next question is, do you use a cane or a guide dog or both?
Well, I have a cane, which I only use when I travel alone, which is now, since I'm married, it's not happening anymore. But before, when I had to go to the airports, I would always use my white stick, as I call it, just to signal for the people that they don't run into me, and also for me not to run into other things, because sometimes I just don't see things. Stairs are very brutal for me. And the dog I don't have, because it's very hard to get a blind dog. And I think I always feel like I'm not blind enough to take a dog.
But you have a blind dog wife.
Yeah, my wife is my guide dog, yeah. She brings me everywhere. And whoever follows us on our YouTube channel, Be With Us couple, We'll leave the link below for this. You will see her walking in front all the time. And I'm filming here from the back because I'm still a cameraman. I mean, I don't see really what I'm filming, but I'm not giving up on it. So if you want to follow us on YouTube, Blind Cameraman, you will see it, funny things. And she walks in front and she looks for holes, for stairs, for gaps, for canyons, for whatever places I could fall in or stumble over. Guys, while doing the research for this podcast, I came over the fact that there are around 258 million blind people in the world, and they estimate that this number can triple within the next 30 years. That means we're not all blind. Most of us can see a bit. Some of us can see 10%, 5%. Some of us can see 1 or 2%. Some of us can only see light, a little bit of light, or they can see dark shadows. It depends on which person you ask. Each case is different. So the whole podcast I'm talking about is obviously just about my case. And there's a lot of people out there which could have been most likely helped with in younger years when they were younger, but maybe they were not going to the doctors, or there was no doctor around, or there was no money to go to the doctor. So a lot of people could be seeing now, but haven't been looked into it, and then maybe it was too late. Like with me, we figured out very late what's wrong with me, because my doctor, she had glasses on, very massive glasses, my eye doctor, and she always let me guess the numbers or the letters until I got it right. And so she said, "Oh, he's just young, that's why." Yeah, but that was not the problem. What a nice doctor.
Great. The next question is, how does being blind affect your life?
Tremendously, I would say. First of all, I'm falling over a lot of things. We have here, because we live on a subtropical island, so it's always warm. We have those little fan ventilators on the floor, which you obviously move in whatever position you need it wherever you're around in the house. And sometimes I'm just forgetting about them. I can hear them, but when I come from the front, I can feel the wind. But when I come from the back, obviously I don't feel the wind. And those are metal ones. So I ran in them a few times, and there was a lot of blood around. They're all a little bit dented. So that's how it affects me. And as I said, I can't read anymore. I mean, paper, so I use a lot of Audible. And I can't work. My doctor just diagnosed me just lately in March. I had to go for a checkup again, and he was saying, "Oh, I can't work anymore because the companies wouldn't hire me, or that would be too dangerous." So I have no clue. That's how it affects my vision.
And also psychologically.
Oh, psychologically, yeah. Well, it's a big blow, you know. I'm just 45-ish, you know, and to be told that you can't work anymore, you know, I feel too young to retire, and most likely I am too young to retire. So in the moment, I'm in limbo. I'm waiting for some evaluation of my case for the government, because they want to decide what to do with me. So keep fingers crossed that they don't throw me off the cliff.
What are the challenges of being blind?
Same like the first question. Sorry, I have to drink some water. Well, the challenges are, for example, that you, as I say, can't read. You can run into things, you can have accidents. Challenges are the biggest challenge that I had my whole life to find a job. Not that I have no education or nothing. I did all school, everything like anybody else. But when I applied for a job, and I was absolutely entitled to get the job, people would just in the interviews they see, because I can't focus when I look at someone with my eyes. My eyes are more like a gecko chasing a fly, so they're going everywhere. And then all those HR people would just say, "Oh, what's wrong with your eyes?" And I was saying, "I'm sorry, I'm legally blind. I have to tell you before you hire me, and then figure out there's something wrong." And when you then tell them, "But will this affect my application here?" And they say, "Oh, no, it's a barrier-free company. Your grant, everything is bene bene." And they always were joking. I could hear the paper shredder when I left the office, you know, like they shredded my application. And then a few weeks later, I got an apology letter saying, "Oh, sorry, we couldn't hire you." Although I found work for the longest time of my life, but with getting older and getting blinder, it's getting very hard, almost impossible. If I find the job, I will let you guys know.
And what are the limitations a blind person has?
Well, this depends on each single case. I can just talk on my case. My limitation is, as I said, the vision is very limited. I can't see details and all this. Limited maybe also in the jobs. I mean, maybe you can't be a fighter pilot anymore. So I think it limits you in many ways. But I think I talked about this, and then it depends on the case on the case too.
Can a blind person live alone?
Yeah, we can. Obviously we can live alone. In Switzerland, I had to go to school for blind and low vision people for the longest time of my life. And there were cases which have almost no vision. I have a little bit more. So they lived alone. They lived either alone in an apartment and had some caretaker coming once a week to clean. Because I mean, we people, we clean, but obviously sometimes we don't see all the dirt, or some of us also use the excuse we didn't saw it. So we did a sloppy job. So you can live alone, and then it depends on how you feel. You know, if you're older and you need care anyways, you most likely need somebody looking after you. Either you have a wife or a husband who can do this, and if not, sometimes you get some nurses or people to help you.
Do people who are blind or visually impaired have stronger senses?
Well, I looked into it, and then there was a survey done on this, and it says actually there is no scientific proof that we have stronger senses. So it's not that we can hear way better or we can smell way better. Although I have to say, a lot of people I walk by, they smell. I think they don't shower much. But it has nothing to do with it. It has to do to the fact that one of our senses was taken, well, in our case, vision. And so we train the other senses more. We rely on them more to hear or to smell or to taste. But there is no superpowers with blindness.
No daredevil, guys. Can people who are blind see in their dreams?
Well, I can see very vividly in my dreams, especially in my nightmares. There is, I looked into it for this podcast, and they're saying if you were born blind and never have seen in your life, most likely you don't see anything in your dreams. If you just got blind later in life, there's still that you dream in color or, or whatever you dream, but you're supposed to see something.
What do guides dogs do?
Guides dogs, they're
Guide
just
dogs.
guide dogs, they're just cute. No, guide dogs normally are trained to help a blind person. So they have special commands. For example, in Switzerland, and our guide dogs, we would train them in, I think it was Italian or some other language. I'm not sure now, because they always try to teach the dogs a different language, which is not common in your area, so nobody else can just give a comment to the dog and the dog wanders off. Normally they wouldn't do it because they're used to the owner. But what they do actually, they train to with you as a couple to bring you from A to B, to bring you onto the bus and on your daily routine, so to bring you to the supermarket. They have to learn the routes to your walking. I mean, they know, for example, at the street to stop you when there is a street, and they kind of taking care of you if there's a car coming, I mean, by pulling you back or just giving you a signal. But it's not that you really can walk hiking with them in the mountains, in the sticks. They have to be trained too for the same routine, like as I would have to be trained if I walk with the cane. And apart from that, they're very nice company, so you're not alone. You know, they don't talk back like a wife. So it's
They don't complain when the husband talk a lot.
yes, it's another podcast. Why does my wife complain so much?
Yeah. Do all people who are blind read Braille?
No, I always say this is a nerd thing. I don't know what the percentage is there now. I looked into it.
10%.
10%, yeah. 10% of us using Braille to read. First of all, it's an expensive technology. I mean, you can hook up a little Braille bar to your computer, and then if you read something on the screen, all the little knobs would come up and you could read. Also, if you scan a paper, you could read with it. The problem with Braille is I think it's the technology moved on, and we have so much other technologies where we talk about them later, which are out there. So also, if you want to read a book, for example, you can order a book of the blind library or the people blind's library or whatever they call them. You can order a book in Braille, but you will have boxes and boxes of very heavy paper. So I think it's for some it's in like a nerd thing. Either you really want to learn it because it's cool, I mean it's cool to read with your fingertips, but apart from that, it's very little people using it.
And the next question is, how long does it take to learn Braille?
Well, that in my research, I never learned it. I started in school, but I gave up after I think 3 months. Because there was no benefit for me to learn it, because I know I will not use it afterwards. And it depends on it depends on yourself. Like, how long does it take you to learn a language, or how long does it take you to learn any other thing? Some learn it fast, some learn it slower. Depends on what type of person you are.
Do people who lose their sight later in life have the ability to learn Braille?
Everybody has the ability. Also, as a person with full vision, we had sometimes people coming to the blind school, they just wanted to learn Braille. Maybe the partner was blind, or they just found it cool. So everybody can learn Braille. It's just a matter of doing it. So I would say yes.
What's the right way to guide someone who's blind? That's a good question.
Well, first of all, if you don't know the person, don't just grab us and drag us like Superman. Normally, you can ask the person if the person needs help, and if the person needs help, obviously you can help. And then there's different ways we learn. Normally, you would just grab in by the elbow, right, by the arm, so it gives you some space to walk, and the other one can walk too. And then you just guide them, and maybe you give some visual comments about the area where you walk. If you walk in a building, you can say, okay, we're walking down a hallway. There are no stairs, or there are chairs to the right, so please stay to the left. Or you can say, when you walk by a door, now there's a door on the left, or there's a whatever waiting room on the right. That's what it is. And we also walk them, but it looks stupid, sometimes people offer you the shoulder, so you just put the hand on the shoulder and you follow them. The problem with this is, first, if the person has a different step length than the other one, like me, I take very big steps, and if I have a person which take very small steps, I would more run into the person than it really would help me, or I would walk to the side a bit, but normally just hold it a little bit on the upper arm, just loosely, don't grip it for dear life, okay? And then we shall follow.
Do blind people have any sensation of light or color?
Well, as I said before, it depends on the case. I mean, I see color, I see light, sometimes more, sometimes less, and it depends on the case. Some people see colors, some don't, but it's very specified.
What type of technology do blind people can rely on the most?
Technology. Well, first of all, on the smartphones nowadays, they have all the voice-over installed, so we can use the phone without actually seeing the screen. You can turn the screen off on black. It gives you some privacy, so other people don't see what you see, and that drives them nuts. So it reads out everything. It's a little bit complicated sometimes, depends on what phone you have, and then you have to take a little bit of time to really learn it and focus when you tap, and tap once, double tap, one finger, two fingers, swipe up, swipe left or right. This is helpful. Back in the days when I started with mobile phones, there was no such thing. So you have a phone and you can't use it. Later on came up a little software called Talks. You could install on your phone for a lot of money, but it would read out your text messages. So this was helpful. to read, and you can also write text messages and then reread and see if it's right. We also use softwares for the computers. There's different softwares and different companies out there, so I don't want to make any marketing or any advice or any recommendations. I'm using Zoom Text. The software is called. I have it on the computer, so I can just zoom everything up very big. The downside is it gives you or gives me a headache after a while if I have it very big. If you want to see how big I use Zoom Text and stuff, you can check on my Instagram. I have photos of it, and it can also read. It's a Zoom and screen reader. So when I do my scripts for the other shows here on the podcast, I'll just copy paste text and type text and everything, and then I can read it out word by word, letter by letter, line by line, and that's how I start in clipping and adjusting my research papers, which takes way longer than like my wife would do it. She's a computer whiz. She can do it super fast. With me, it's more like in super extra slow motion.
Do blind people can completely trust their service animals?
I would say hopefully. I mean, the friends I had with blind dogs, they didn't really had any major problems with it. And if there would be a little problem occurring after a while, you can then just call the trainer of the dog and you can look into the problem. But I would say you can trust. I mean, there's of course not 100% guarantee, but then again, I was walking with my wife too once here on the island with luggage because we were traveling, and I almost fell. There was a big gap in between the street and the pathway. Not like a big gap, it was like 10 centimeters, but she was dreaming.
No, I have to defend myself. I was new in this blind guiding, so it's very hard to concentrate because for us is we kind of walk automatically and go, but it's very hard to tell other people about bumps and stuff. So sometimes you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my idea was, I think she tried to get rid of me very early, but didn't work.
Yeah. Plus the leashes of the dogs. You always almost stumbling in the leashes.
When the other problem I love dogs. This is no question. You know, I would have like a lot of dogs, but I'm not allowed pets here in the apartment in this one. But some dog owners, they have those very long leashes, which I don't know, leashes, it's like 5 meter, 10 meter. And then the little fucker comes running and I don't see those leashes. And then I stumble over it. And then the dog owner gets mad with me because I stumble and little Fifi is in pain. Then when I tell them that I'm sorry, I'm legally blind, so I can't see this, you know, it's very dangerous what you're doing. Then the next question is, why are you bringing your stupid stick? I think, sorry, what kind of question is this? Why don't you bring your stick? Why don't you care about your dog? Why do you have to have your dog running 10 meters away where you can't even see what it's doing? So this is something which makes me always aggressive and always panicking when I see a dog. I have to ask Patricia, is it on the leash or not? If it's not on the leash, then I have to just focus because some dogs nowadays, they're very small. They're almost rat size. So I don't want to step on them. But they always, I don't know, dogs always come running to me and want to play with me, all of them, all sizes. I like the bigger sizes better because I can see them. The smaller sizes are very cute, but it's very dangerous if I'm not prepared that there's a little thing coming.
Since you're talking about it, why don't you walk with your blind stick around?
That's what I said.
No, I'm asking. That's the question, so you can clarify for them.
Well, I don't walk with my blind stick because I have a wife which brings me everywhere, and I don't know. I don't really like to walk around with it. I had a blind girlfriend back in Switzerland. She was fully blind, and when we went into town, I was her blind dog, which was the biggest joke. So she was holding my hand. I was not allowed to hold her arm because she wants to be couple. So I had to hold her hand like a love couple. And then we would go into the shopping mall or wherever it's very busy. And I had to tell her, be careful, there comes this, there comes that, there comes this. I had to look out for myself. And I had to look out for the other people, which just don't care because they stare into their smartphone screens, those mombies. they run you over, you know. So I was always exhausted, flat out after I came home with her. And then I always told her, bring the stick. And she was, no, no, I don't know. I don't like it. It's not cool. I don't want to bring it. So, yeah, I'd only bring it when I really need it for traveling. Yeah, that's it.
How do blind people pick out what clothes to wear?
Well, it depends on, everybody has his own trick. The people I talk to, they either clip the labels in the clothes on different corners, or they snip them on different sides so they can mark it for themselves and say, okay, this is red, this is green, this is yellow, this is whatever. Obviously, you can touch the texture of it, so you would know what kind of, you know, after a while, it depends on, I don't have many shirts, and other people have a lot of shirts or less. So it depends on, you can feel the texture, and then you know this clipping, so you know that should be this or that. You can also cheat and just ask your partner what you're wearing. But then if you see me in real life, I'm always wearing my Hawaiian shirt, so they're wild anyway, so who cares?
So it doesn't really matter which one you pick.
So I always look like the how they call them, the eccentric person.
There's a question here. When the person is blind, do they see everything dark? Not see, but everything is dark.
Well, it depends on the case, I would say. I see things other people see, maybe shadows. My ex-girlfriend back in Switzerland, she only could see with the very upper part. She could see some light. Sometimes she had some flashes of vision where she almost fainted because it was overwhelming for her. So it's always different. I also want to say about the clothes there was a little tool in Switzerland, which we bought at the blind school. Was a little, I don't know, like a stick, or it came in different shapes. It was like a scanner, so you can just put it on your clothes, scan it, and then it will tell you red, green, black, whatever. The problem is if you have Hawaiian shirts like me and I scan it, and I may be on a green part and says green, but it's just a leaf of a palm tree and the rest is hideous. So it was not really helpful. Either you have to have all unicolored shirts, then it works. But if you're a paradise bird,
or you have to do the scanning at least 5 times in different areas.
Yeah, it's like nowadays when you stand on the scale, it gives you 3 different weights all the time.
No, actually, the next question is not a question. It's just asking, do all blind people, they have to look blind to make it easy for the other people, or?
Yeah, that's what I said. With the dog leash, for example. If you fall over it and you say, sorry, I'm legally blind, you get the stuff. Or for me back in the days too, when I'm in a pub, because I like to be in pubs. And when I went to a pub and then I would to run into somebody and people would get mad with me, people which don't know me. I would say, sorry, I'm legally blind, and they would just assume, are you fucking drunk, and curse you and shout names. So I said, you have to be careful. I mean, not every deaf person, you know, it's deaf. It's not that we're wearing a sticker on the forehead and warning everybody.
Yeah.
And if you bring, sometimes when it was very crowded back in Switzerland, I went out for a few drinks, I brought my white stick. But then the problem is too that people fall over the white stick because they're drunk, blind. And then they fall over your stick, and then there's a big Jesus mess in the whole bar. So you can't blame someone not to have a dog and a stick. What do you expect us to wear? Like a high vest saying I'm blind, have 3 dogs and 5 sticks, you know, just to show off? Sometimes you want to be a little bit low key, you know, stealthy, normal, yeah. Stealthy, you know.
Yeah, that's it for the questions that we have here.
All right, guys. So then that was the episode about blindness. If you have any questions, you can just send them to theblindspot1667@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram. You can check me out on Linktree. There you have all the different ways you can contact me via voicemail and all of that. If you can, please subscribe to my podcast. Give me a good rating if you like it. And please give me a good rating if you don't like it too. You can also leave comments on YouTube, comments on some of the podcast platforms, although I have no clue how to read or to answer on that. So if you really want an answer, the email would be the best. You can also, if you want, lately, I joined Buy Me a Coffee. It's a platform on the internet. You can find it on my Linktree and YouTube and everywhere, where you can just buy me a coffee. It's a small amount. It's a one-off donation. If you want to help me and help this channel to grow, you can also buy me a lot of coffee and make sure I don't sleep for many nights and keep my wife awake too. That's what you can do too. And just thanks for listening. And please tell everybody out there to tune in to my channel. I have either blind related episodes out there, or my passion haunted ghostly episodes out there, which will come back next too. So just keep an eye out for whatever is out on the Blind Spot, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and the notification bell so you don't miss our next videos, and be with us.